So, we're going to do a quick little conversation tonight, or today, whenever you're listening. So, being aware is key to your personal finance. And it's really up to you to take control and be aware of what the system is going on. What is going on in your life, you gotta be aware. You gotta be aware where your money's going. You gotta be aware of the people around you. Just a lot of stuff you gotta be aware of. But mainly we're gonna talk about one main thing. You can get ahead by just living below your means. You gotta take the unglamorous route. If you make just certain sacrifices, it would really pay off in the long run. But everybody's situation is unique. Personal finance is personal. So we already know the system is rigged against you. So you gotta plan and move accordingly. Having money isn't really enough. You gotta have systems in place to where you don't have to spend that much money. You gotta limit how much money is leaving your possession. It's almost like you gotta be super, super intentional with what you have going, what you allow to get in your pockets, what kind of advertisement you allow yourself to consume. Cause your willpower is only so strong. Some stuff we just don't even need to be tempted by just not being around it. You just gotta be like, oh no, I know good and well I don't need to go up in that stove. And I just got paid. Nah, man, I'm tweaking. I don't need to do that. I'm tweaking. You really have to fight the urge to spend your money. You really have to be like, man, there's a lot of stuff out there, but do I really need it? I don't know. You really gotta start sitting back and just pausing and be like, every dollar you don't spend today is like money you gonna have later on that can be used for many things. Saving, you can stack up, you can invest it, you can just save it for later, because guess what happens when you find more money? You just add it together. I think I just said stacking it up again. But anyway, you get the gist of it. You gotta plan and look at your situation and figure out what is the best path for you. And of course you ain't gonna know that. You just gotta keep trying paths until you figure out, okay, this one, you know what? I might just keep on staying on this one. This one's working out pretty good. It's two people making the same amount of money, but because one person is living at home in the unglamorized thing in America, living at home with your parents. Well, check this out. He just graduated. He got a professional job. He makes pretty good money. He could get his own place, but he's just living at home and stacking his money. So he's adding his money with the people that he trusts the most, which are the ones who raised him. And he's just trying to keep his money away from the greedy landlords that's out there too. They want you to pay for those super rinky-dink, run-down, basic apartments that are super, super overpriced. And they just want to, of course, having your own space is cool. But if you really just sit back and think about how much money you're spending, how much money you touch throughout your lifetime, and where it's all going, you can make the ugly decision and redirect that. Or you can just, you don't have to live at home. You can get roommates. Roommates are very important. But that really depends on your social life in your area, because, you can have some horrible roommates, and it would just really, really take down your quality of life. But you gotta cut expenses. well, you can only cut so many expenses, but really evaluate what you need and what you don't. Can I live without this? Or can I go like a couple of months out of this? Like, what if I go a couple months without doing this? How much money will I have saved up then? You know, what if I cut back all this drinking? Cut back all this Zaza, all this smoke? Like, how much money am I have? You know, we gotta start thinking that type of way. We gotta start being aware of that type of stuff, you know? Because the sooner we be aware of it, the sooner we be closer to like putting it in motion and implementing it. You know, let's say it's two people that both make $4,000 a month. Pretty good money, right? But one lives at home, barely has to pay any real amount of money. Right? His co-workers all laugh at him because he drives an old beat up car. But he's taking a lot of his money and he's investing it into a high interest account. He's putting a lot of his money in a regular emergency fund. Then he's taking another portion of it and giving it to his old parents so they can add it to whatever type of retirement fund, or they're just having it just to have it. He's building up multiple safety nests and cushions for himself so he can think about an early retirement. You know, everyone doesn't want to work forever. That old system that was put in place where you get a job and you work that job for 30 years, 25 years or whatever, and it's enough money for you to do everything you could ever imagine or to live a pretty decent, solid, you know, life, you know, not worry too much. But like, you know, this is a grown and changing world. And you just gotta be aware, like there's a different ballpark going on. You gotta cut back on some of the things that you think you need. You gotta reevaluate your situation though, because you know everything is personal. Main thing about personal finance, it's personal. So what works for one person may not work for the other. They won't even have the opportunity to even think that way, depending on their circumstances. So you gotta find your way to like hack the system. You gotta come up with your game plan. You gotta come up with your strategy. You know, what can I do to save a couple dollars? First off, I gotta count how many dollars I'm making to see, okay, boom, I need to limit that, limit this, limit that. But mainly, if I can cut back on the main thing, which is the main real expenses, you know, housing, man, you will like have so much money left over. Like, you better call granny, call up your crazy cousin. You know, hopefully your parents not crazy. But you can really make a lot of money by just living below your means. And that's it though. That's all I gotta say for you. Just be aware.